Today we're going to be doing a 600 milligram DXM bad trip report. So let's get it started. Well, it was one of my more poor choices I made in my life. I have tried DXM before, but only at 300 milligrams, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I downed 2 bottles of the robotism cough gels out of the pure boredom. I'd had my first really heavy, difficult trip. I'm 5'10", 140 pounds, and male. Um, so this was at 12 o'clock? Yeah, 12 o'clock. Downing the 40 pills, I sat down with my friend to roll a quick blunt before I kicked in. So this is 12:30. Finish up the blunt, smoking it, feeling very heavy. Drive my friend home quickly so I didn't drive and start tripping. So this is at 1 in the morning. This is where things took a downhill turn. I began to roll another blunt, but then all of a sudden, an urge to puke rises. So I do into the trash can nearby, but I can't stop. I puke and puke and puke until I dry heave. Then I dry heavy some more. In so much pain, I rip off my shirt and curl up on the floor. I continue to dry heave into the trash can. At this point, I haven't eaten anything since my Thanksgiving dinner, so I was really riding on an empty tank. As I dry heaved, all that could run through my head was the stories I've heard of people who would puke out their organs and blood when they were starving for food. The last time I ate was 9 hours before the trip started. I didn't really think it was going to happen, but when you're tripping and dry heaving time after time, that's all that's on your mind. This is where things started getting really weird. I got the idea in my head that I needed to put something in my stomach to feel better. So I grabbed my trash can and I started to crawl downstairs. Standing up made me puke more. And either way, I dry heaved all the way downstairs countless times. When I finally made it down, I quickly ran over to the sink and started to throw up again. A bunch of red goo, the gel caps, came out, but all I could think was blood. I must have passed out while puking in the sink because there's no way I spent 4 hours doing my next task. I grabbed cereal, milk, a bowl, and a spoon and poured myself a bowl of cocoa pebbles. Keep in mind, every step of the way I spent dry heaving. I finally sit down to eat my cereal and I still cannot stop puking and dry heaving. I didn't even know where I was, what my name is, or what I was doing. I had grown so acclimatized to puking that I ended up throwing up in my cereal and continued to eat it. I had the strength to finally stand up and walk to my room, still dry heaving though. My eyes felt as if they were placed at my waistline, making me feel like I was 2 feet tall. I crawled to the bed and passed out after a few hours of sweating and racing thoughts. I woke up in the morning still feeling very heavy. There was pain in my side where my liver was. I went downstairs to see what the damage was. I didn't put away all the cereal, and I'm not sure if I even had a bite of it. Milk from the bowl was spilled all over the table and had formed a hard, sticky, solid gel that was nearly impossible to get off. All I never want to see another one of those little red gel caps again, let alone think about them. I was stupid for not having a trip sitter and eating on an empty stomach. I thought I was experienced though to trip on my own, but I was wrong. Never in those 4 hours have I ever wanted to have presence of a friend or family member more in my entire life. Laying on the ground in a stupor of pain and misery was all I could think of. I never want to try DXM again. This was my first ever bad trip with a psychedelic substance, and it was terrible. That was the end of the first trip. We're only going to do 2 DXM trip stories for this video. So this one is called Suppressed Memories. So before the dosage, I was at the college corpus for my older sister's dance show, and we were meeting up with my older sister, cousin, uncle, and aunt. For dinner before the show, as we said hello, I snuck into the car and got out a bag of container filled with 9 30 milligram DXM pills, leading to a little less than 300 milligrams. As I got out, my aunt hugged me and the pills made a shaking sound against the container. She didn't think anything of it. We walked into the restaurant and I went to the bathroom to do my business and take the pills. I put the pill in my mouth, realizing pretty quickly that I could not swallow a pill this size without water. I spit the pill back into my hand. Fuck, what do I do now? I asked myself. Then an idea came up. Using the container to fill up with the bathroom sink water, so I did. So the container used to hold the creatine gummies. I filled it up 2 times, and the combination of DXM and the sink gummy water was atrocious, tasting like old man semen. Leaving the bathroom, I head to the table that they sat my family at, the come up. I started to feel the effects and started floating in the booth. We sat at 2 different tables. Are you okay, Maron asked. I laugh and tell him that tell him that I'm fine. I just got energy from the 7-hour car ride, I reply. The effects kick in almost like I was floating into space at 20 miles per hour, and my vision looks like it's 1.5 slower speed. I got up a couple times. Each time I felt like I was 7 foot tall, 5'8". I ended up telling my girlfriend that I loved her a bunch. Not uncommon for me to do on substances. But something else happened. My ex-girlfriend texted me through a friend and sent me a video. I put in one of my AirPods and tried to listen to it, but I couldn't make out most of it. All I heard was blah blah blah. I wasn't cheating, blah blah blah. Ask, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah right, and forgot about it. The car ride to the hotel. As we got into the car, I took my leftovers and went into the car, turning on the DXM playlist I made days before the trip. As the sun set, it got darker, and so did the music. I heard every little detail. Then we got into the parking garage. It was tilted, making it easy to fall. I carried my bag and my leftovers. The walk was scary. Felt like I was walking on a tight rope. As we went down, cars came quickly, having to be real careful to keep my balance. We got to the elevator where some homeless potheads were, and we went to the streets. We walked to a hotel, and when we arrived, it was still very trippy. Time sucked. My family was checking in online, and minutes. It was like minutes were hours from now, on until the end of the trip. I tried to stand as long as possible, but ended up sitting on the couch they had. We went upstairs, and the floor was trippy and was moving. We got to our room, and it was just trippy. Went to the bathroom to put on nicer clothes, and looking down was trippy with the patterns of the bathroom's floor. I felt amazing in my button-down shirt with my overcoat and chain poking out, taking many pictures to post later. We went back down, we sat on the couches and taken off my overcoat as we waited for my cousin and aunt to come over. When they did, I quickly had to put my overcoat back on, which seemed impossible with one of the sleeves inside out. It's somehow not making any sense. I was able to put it on after a couple seconds. I quickly catch up to the family who was already outside walking to the dance show. The show slash come down. Minutes before the show, I talked to my cousin who was rambling like normal, but this time I couldn't understand her saying yes, of course, and that's cray, to whatever she said. I noticed the effects wearing off while watching the act, one which was a man that lost his father in 6th grade. I remember thousands of memories, comparing all the schools I went to as if they were past lives. I remember memories I didn't even know I had, and felt peace, almost like I was rewatching my life, similar stories I've heard of 5-MeO-DMT. Don't know how true that is, I haven't tried it yet. I realized that I needed to be more positive like I was in my 3rd school. I went to stop being negative and getting people beat up because they did something I didn't like. I felt inner peace inside me that I felt I've lost. During the peak 2nd act, I came down completely, leaving me with the afterglow. We went back to the room and I reflected what happened and reflected for my advantages. Hopefully, I hope I can stay this peaceful as I did in the past. Okay, well, that was the end of the story. I hope you enjoy, and like and subscribe.